G'day YouTube, it's been a while. I think it's been over a year or almost two since my last video. And to be honest, I had no intention of making any more videos, but recently my phone started lighting up with comments from a very old video, a Bitcoin prediction video. This one here that I made in, where was this? Published on October 12th, 2015. And it was a prediction about the Bitcoin price a year and two later. And apparently somebody just sent this out. And actually it was, if we go down here, 6 days ago, thumbs up if Sunny Decree sent you here. And we got 52 thumbs up. So thank you, Sunny, for giving my video a little bit of love from way back in 2015. And let's just go through some of the comments because basically they asked me to do this video. And so I decided to do one because why not? So if you want this guy back, hit the thumbs up. Come back, man, 18 thumbs up. This video aged so well. Going through the comments, I have to say that history is cyclical. You were right, 7 thumbs up. Man, please come back and predict 100K. Come back, you're gonna be famous. 8 likes. And then, let's see. Well, I'm not quite sure what that says. Where are you now? 6 days ago. Time to come back, share your thoughts again, mate. Sunny Decree shared this video today to his subscribers. And then the comment before that is 3 years ago. So here we are in April of 2019, and for the last several months I've been letting my paid subscribers know that Bitcoin has put in its bottom or thereabouts, and now is the time to start accumulating because we are at ground zero of the next big bull run, which I think will send Bitcoin over $100,000 per Bitcoin, and that'll take around about 24 months for that to fully play out. But right now is pretty close to the best price you're going to get. So people were asking me to make this video, so I thought, what the hell, I'll come out of YouTube retirement and make this video, go through all the reasons why and explain to you exactly why I was able to make that prediction, why I'm able to make this next prediction, and my logic so you can follow it along too. So let's take a quick look. I'll put a link for this video below, but so you can go back and check it. But basically in October of 2015, I made the prediction that June of 2016 will be the next big bubble in Bitcoin. So let's go and take a look at the price action back then. Here we are in, let's see, 2017, coming into 2016, October 2015, right here. So when the Bitcoin price was $230, I think there was a flash crash back here. It went all the way down to $150. That $152, that was the absolute minimum post 2013 boom. That was the bottom of the crash, 152. So in October here, $230. I said that sort of Q2, June 2016 will be the beginning of the bull run. And let's come up to June here of 2016, and the price was kind of, that's May, let's go to June, up a little bit, $550. So I told people when it was 200 that now's the time to buy. The real price action is going to start moving about 9 months from now, June, and you can see actually right there was a little bit of a bump, kind of settled down again, but then off to the races and all the way through until $20,000. Looking back, it all looks pretty smooth. Obviously, it's always a roller coaster, but from the prediction way back here, it was just a stellar prediction, which obviously I'm very proud of. Now, I'll get to why I made that prediction, but there's something else to note here. This orange line, it's the 200-day moving average. I just want to, so here we are. This is the 1200 peak December 2013, peaks miles above the 200-day moving average, crashes down and inverts. The price goes below the orange line, which is the 200-day moving average, and it's it brings in it's the announcement that you're definitely in a bear market there, and the price stays below the 200-day moving average all the way through until, hello, where are we? Basically, it flashed up there, came back down, went back up, and then October, when I made the prediction, the price gets above the 200-day moving average and stays above there all the way through until the next big boom. Here's the big boom, here's the 200-day moving average. And then the crash happens, 200-day moving average goes above the price line stays below the 200-day moving average, And what do you know, the last week or so, Bitcoin's had a big run, crashed through 4,000, shot up to 5,000, went over the 200-day moving average. Don't be surprised if it comes down again once or twice, but we are plus or minus $1,000. This is the turning point, and we will see another just gigantic rise in the Bitcoin price again here. Like I said, over $100,000. I have some more specific price-specific, date-specific predictions, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to talk more about that. And I just want to talk about another little concept here. It might be a little hard to see, but I just want to point out what's known as the cup and handle. Let me see if I can get it all on the screen here. The cup and handle is it's in technical analysis for charting, and you'll see from the previous high, they call this parabolic shape here the cup. It gets back to the high, and then it does a little crash and back up, and that's the handle. It's called cup and handle. Really, really common. It's happened in Bitcoin several times before. It lasts a couple of years. I'll explain why it lasts a couple of years in just a moment. But here, that is the cycle, the cup and handle cycle, and we are going to repeat that. The psychology, what the cup and handle is trying to describe, is the psychology of the people who got in here. They bought towards the end of the boom, and then it crashed on them, and they held it for 3 years. This miserable, horrible Bitcoin. They've been carrying losses for 2 years. The price has finally come back, and hey, it's hit the price that I can sell at again, and I can cash out. And finally, I didn't lose any money. I bought here, I sold here, and I don't have to be one of those people who say I got hosed by Bitcoin. And the price comes down a little bit, but of course, we're in the middle of or in the beginning stages of a giant bull run, and that price comes roaring back. That's the handle. That's what the psychology of the cup and handle is trying to describe. What I'm trying to suggest here is, so here's the peak of 20,000, December 2017. This is the first half of the cup has happened. And you can expect to see the other side of the cup coming back up to here. You'll expect to see a handle and crash through and head on its way up to $100,000. So, I hope that's been helpful. I'm going to jump on the whiteboard. I'm going to tell you a little bit more stuff, how I was able to make that prediction in the past, and why I'm making the prediction that I'm going to be making. You'll hear it here soon for the next couple of years. So let me do that. Okay, so the most important macro trend in Bitcoin by orders of magnitude is what's called the Bitcoin halving. For those of you who don't know what the Bitcoin halving is, I'll do a quick little explanation of what it is, and I think it'll help you really understand why it's so significant. And it's the key driver of all the booms and busts, and it's the key thing that I've used to predict the booms and busts that I have over the years. And by the way, that video is just one example. I've been nailing the Bitcoin price for how long? Nearly 7 years now. I mean, with very, very good accuracy, all documented to paid subscribers, etc. So this stuff really works, so pay attention. Okay, the Bitcoin halving, just real quickly, if you don't know what it is, let me explain it. If you're super techie, I know some of the things I'm saying are slightly inaccurate. I'm keeping it simple for the lay people. Don't worry about that. The gist of it is true. So the way Bitcoin works is, in the beginning, there were no Bitcoins. Bitcoins came into existence. The way Bitcoins come into existence is anybody out there in the world can go and become a Bitcoin miner. What that means is you dedicate some computing power to trying to solve a very complex math puzzle. If you're the one who solves it, then you get the Bitcoin reward, okay? Now, originally, in the beginning, actually this pen's not working. In the beginning, the Bitcoin reward was 50 Bitcoin, okay? And the price of the Bitcoin was pennies. So, every 10 minutes, these block rewards are achieved. Someone solves the puzzle and someone earns 50 Bitcoin back originally. And when Bitcoin was worth pennies, that means that it was worth spending 50 cents or so to go ahead and burn 50 cents with electricity to earn some Bitcoin. And that was good, right? As the price goes up, people are willing to spend a lot more money, millions and millions of dollars per day, to go ahead and earn these Bitcoin rewards. Okay, hard-coded into the Bitcoin protocol is that every 4 years or so, this block reward gets chopped in half. So this got chopped in half to 25 Bitcoin in November of 2012. It got chopped in half again to 2.5 Bitcoin. Every 10 minutes now, 12.5 Bitcoins are being given as a reward. And it's going to be in May of 2020, the Bitcoin reward will get chopped in half again, 6.25 Bitcoin. Okay, so there is another, what are we in? We're in April, so we are 13 months away from the next Bitcoin halving. Okay, hold that concept in your mind, put it on the side for a second. I want to talk a little bit about something else. We'll come back and tie it in so that it all makes sense. That is the Bitcoin, that's how the reward halving works. Okay, let's talk about Bitcoin price. On the exchange, on all the exchanges, there's a certain number of dollars trying to buy Bitcoin and a certain number of dollars selling Bitcoin. If the price is relatively stable, what that means is the amount of dollars buying and the amount of dollars selling was pretty well matched and the price stayed the same. This is where the price is set in the Bitcoin world on the exchanges between buyers and sellers. However, the pool of sellers, the only way to sell Bitcoin is to sell to somebody looking to buy. 100% of the sellers sell to someone looking to buy. However, if the buying pool trying to buy those Bitcoins does not represent 100% of the people of the buying dollars trying to acquire Bitcoin. That pool is actually much larger. Some of it, the money on the exchange, buys and sells from existing sellers. The other chunk of people who are looking to trade their dollars for Bitcoin can do it by mining. That's what we just talked about, right? So these guys over here, they might be spending $100 million a day on software, on hardware, on burning electricity, trying to solve these complex math puzzles. And if they can earn more Bitcoin than they do spend in electricity, they are acquiring Bitcoin for dollars, okay? But they do not push up the price because they're in a different world. They're trading their dollars for electricity and electricity for Bitcoin. These guys are trading their dollars for Bitcoin from sellers and back and forth. The price is set by these group of people only. These guys have nothing to do with the price. They do not put price pressure at all. There's no price buying pressure from these guys, the guys mining. That's important. So what happens next is when the halving takes place, all of a sudden these guys they're burning their electricity and they're getting 12.5 Bitcoins every 10 minutes. At today's prices, it comes out around about $10 million a day, okay? Every single day, there's $10 million of buying pressure, which buys electricity to acquire Bitcoin. On the day the halving happens, all of a sudden, this block reward gets chopped in half. And now, if the price were the same, now there is only, this mining process is only absorbing $5 million worth of buying pressure. But there was $10 million of buying pressure yesterday. Assuming that number didn't change much, that extra $5, that extra $5 million per day floats up into this category and starts putting buying pressure on the price, sending the price north. Assuming this selling volume didn't change, this buying volume didn't change, all of a sudden there's brand new buying volume. And $5 million a day may not sound like enough, but just between here and the halving, I think it's something like $4 billion of buying pressure will go to burning electricity to acquire Bitcoin. So it's even at today's low prices, which is we're in the bottom of this year plus bear market, there's going to be over the course of a year, there'll be an extra $2 billion worth of buying pressure that will go from here to here on May of 2020. This is the mechanism that just drastically changes the markets. So, and it's the main thing that I use to do the vast majority of my predictions, because I just do the macro predictions and I don't do day-to-day stuff. So, now very early on, when this kind of first happened, kind of all the price action happened after the blockchain halving. There was a lot of new people around. We were all green. We had never seen a halving before, but it really got us. So the halving took place. It was November of 2012. The price was $11, and in the next 4 months, the price went up to $266. In the next 12 months, it went from 11 to 1,200. It was a 100x, all right? The following halving, Bitcoin went from about 200 to 20,000 over the course of like 2-3 years. But the halving, you know, was right in the middle of that. Okay, that's what these halvings do. Just dramatic and gigantic price changes. So let's talk some specifics on that. So we talked about the cup and handle before. This is the previous all-time high, $20,000. We came back down to low, was 3,100. Okay, there's the cup and the handle, and then the price shoots off to the next high before the next crash. Okay, that's what we're expecting to happen. The halving, from when the halving happens to the previous low, this cycle, from bottom to top, the halving usually occurs about a third to a half in terms of time way through. So this time to this time, the actual halving occurs about a third to a half of the way through. People start to know the halving's coming, they start to front run it, and then the halving actually happens, the dynamics of the market completely change, and all that money that was chasing electricity to buy Bitcoin now goes into the exchanges and starts chasing Bitcoin that way instead, and drives the prices up, starts off the next major Bitcoin mania. So something we want to know, the halving occurs at around about a third. Something else that we want to know pretty consistently, I mean, you know, we've only got a few halvings that have happened, so there's a little bit of it's not statistically significant, but what's happened the last 2 times is from the bottom to the actual halving, the price moved pretty close to 5x. So here's my first prediction. $3,100 times 5, we're going to call it 15,500. Yeah, 15,500. That's my price prediction for May 2020. That's my price prediction for May 2020. That's the date the halving is actually going to happen. And that's my prediction. That's my price prediction for that day. We're a good 13 months out. So this prediction is for 13 months out. So if that holds true, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to make 500% on our money in the next 13 months. That's pretty good. I like it. And that will signify somewhere around about here. Not quite a new all-time high, before the handle. Okay? Now, beyond that, just using some of the previous numbers and whatever else, multiples from this point, multiples from this point, multiples from this point, I'm feeling very good and very confident that the peak will be over 100,000 Bitcoin, and it'll probably take place another year after the halving. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that. We'll put that one up there. I think it's 100K plus, and it'll occur May 2021. Okay, as we get closer to the date, I let all my paid subscribers know when I think that we're near the top and all those kinds of things happen. But you know, for where are we? We're 2 years out. I'm calling that the high is over $100,000 and that. So that's what I'm talking about. That's how I came to this conclusion. It's how I've come to the conclusions before, and I've just been able to predict it with crazy success. To give you an idea of just how accurate I have been with using this method and other methods, let me just go through what the predictions I've made to my paid subscribers, all verified via email, etc. So I first discovered Bitcoin in 2012, I beg your pardon. It was right at the time of the halving, but I didn't know what it was. The price was $11. Okay, I told people to buy immediately, and they did. Price went up to 266. I did at $240. I told people to take profits. Price came back down to $66. Went back up to $1,200. Hits $1,200 here. 2 days before the peak, I emailed the subscribers, says time to get out, take your profits, get out right now. So that I was 2 days out on that one. Price came back down. I think on some exchanges it hit something like 150. Well, you saw the one on YouTube. I predicted here at 220. We've got the low in. To paid subscribers, it was a little bit earlier. We've got the low in. Guys, go ahead, start accumulating like crazy now. This guy runs up to $20,000. I was a little bit early this time. At $15,000, I told people to take profits here. I was a little bit early on that one. Price crashed back down, hit 3,100. And we'll see. Maybe this isn't I called the low at about 3,500. It maybe go a little bit lower yet, so I could be wrong, and that's too early to call that. But I think I'm going to be right here. And now I've just made those two predictions. May 2020, 15,000. May 2021, over 100,000. Okay, there are my predictions. Now, I do want to talk about psychology a little bit because there's something really, really cool that you want to learn about these cycles, and it helps you take profit. Because I've been through these a couple of times now. I've just got lots of subscribers. I kind of coach them through it. And FOMO is insane. When this thing is just, the price is going crazy and it goes up $300, $400, $500 every single day, just trying to sell is hard. Because it's FOMO. It's like up, 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 and then all of a sudden crash and you missed your window. Here's the number one thing that has helped me coach people through getting over the FOMO and saying, I'm gonna sell right now. I don't need to pick the exact top. We're in a great price range here. I'm gonna take it. The march down, okay, 20,000 to 3,100, really close to 85%. 1,200 to 150, really close to 85%. This was 260 down to 60, not quite, maybe 80%, something like that. There were some other little ones. Well, no, they were big. They're actually bigger in orders of magnitude back then, but we won't worry about going back then. Here's the lesson. 85% is a really good loose figure for peak to trough, right? Here's something that I think helps a lot. Oh, actually, sorry. That's actually not the useful figure. Sorry, I just misled you completely. Because when you're here and deciding whether or not to sell, you don't know what the all-time high is going to be. So having a number to get to here from a number you don't know is useless. The number that's useful is going from here to here. This number to here. So from this bottom to this bottom, that one works out at pretty close to 20, right? It's a 20x. From 66 to 150, this I'm not sure this should have been a little bit higher. And this, by the way, these two bubbles and pops, they happen inside the same halving. So it's actually quite useful to think of this as one bull run. They happen in the same calendar year, actually. It's actually quite useful to think of those as the same run. So these numbers are a little bit awkward, but from bottom to top, it can really safely say that you're a good 20x all the time. Okay, I know that doesn't quite work out there, but that's a really confident place that I can put that is right. A good 20x is pretty useful for that. Here's why that's important. Here's why it really, really helps your psychology. So if you know, like wherever, yeah, okay, you got up to here. Like let's say the price is at $15,000. And you're like, the price is running up, I'm so excited, I'm FOMO, I don't want to sell, or what if it goes to 100,000 and I miss out? Here's something that you know with certainty, at some point there'll be a crash, and at some point it's going to come rocketing down, and it's going to be in some relation to the previous bottom. It's going to be something like 20x, 10x, 15x, something around there. You will be able to ballpark this figure. So here's why that's great for your psychology. The price is at $15,000. You're thinking, should I sell? You've got FOMO. Well, if you sell, let's say you sell at $15,000. Just say you just got the one Bitcoin. You sell at $15,000. Actually, just for round numbers, let me just do it at 20. You pick the perfect top. You sell at 20. Okay, depending on what state you're in or what country you're in or whatever, you're going to have to pay capital gains tax on that, right? So straight away, let's just say wherever you are, capital gains is 25%. In a lot of places it's less, but let's just say it's 25%. So straight away, you sell your Bitcoin for 20,000, forget the cost base, you take out $5,000 and you send it off to the tax department. Okay? You've got $15,000 left. You go and buy your Lamborghini, obviously not with 15,000, but if you've got multiples, you go and you pay off your house, you whatever, you buy the boat, you buy the Lamborghini, you do what you got to do, and you spend 10 on yourself. You spend 10. You've still got $5,000 left over. You know that if you just wait a year or two, wait for this next bottom to come in, you know that with your $5,000, you can go ahead and acquire more Bitcoin than you had. And you got the pool and the car and the Lamborghini, right? So this concept of FOMO completely disappears because you're scared you're missing out on something. But once you know with a high degree of certainty that actually By selling here, you know that in the end, you're gonna end up with more Bitcoin than you had at this stage, and you got the free car, the free pool, the free Lamborghini, whatever it is, however many Bitcoin you had. All that stuff is free because you know you're gonna be able to get back in. Understanding that totally releases you from the FOMO. Because when this is up at 15 grand, it's going up a grand a day, you can't think to yourself it's going to crash all the way down to 3,100, down 85%. But it is, and it does, and it will, because it's done it every time. It will crash down. So it's extremely good for your psychology to remember that. It totally eliminates your FOMO and will help you get out at the right time on the way up. Now, let me throw a spanner in the works. There's something very interesting that has to be accounted for here. Bitcoin is young. It was released in 2009. We have been in the longest bull market in the history of the United States. Since the beginning of the United States, there have been 47 booms and busts. We are in the longest one in history. Zero interest rates will do that kind of thing. So, Bitcoin has never seen a crash. That's a huge spanner in the works. What happens when there's a crash? It can go one of two ways. If there's banking failures and black swan events, you're getting banks go. There's bail-ins, bailouts. Your account's getting chopped in half. It could be that Bitcoin goes up 10x more. That's absolutely a possibility. Conversely, it might be more of a managed thing. People just need to eat. They lost their job. They can't make their mortgage. All of a sudden, they're forced to sell Bitcoin when they really don't want to. It could suppress prices. So there's a big spanner in the works when it comes to it's looming. We're very, very close to the next big recession, okay? It's, like I said, longest one in history. We are very, very due. And this, by the way, is consistent along a whole bunch of things. There's so many things right now. We've been in such a long bull market. Technology is moving so fast. There are so many things that haven't seen that crash. It's hard for us to know what's going to happen. I'll give you another great example. Airbnb. I own a dozen houses and I Airbnb them all. And the reason I'm doing it, I'm super excited because I can't wait for that crash, because I know in the crash, it's an absolute piece of cake to buy property, no money down. People, they're upside down. They can't make their mortgage. They lost their job. They're just like, I'm like, hey, I'll take the property off you for free. It's, the debt equals about the value of the property. I'll just pay your mortgage for you from now on. You get out of the house, your credit won't get hurt. And you just take over the property, no money down. You take the property. Okay. Because I've mastered, systemized, automated, I've got this complete Airbnb system just running like a champion. It just runs without me. I go on holidays for months at a time. It just runs. I know that if there's a property there and it like long-term rents for $1,000 a month, let's say, I know I can probably get about $2,500 a month out of it using Airbnb. So as soon as this crash happens, I'm just going to be accumulating as fast as I can property, no money down, and just getting crazy revenues off them, and then I get to ride the whole next wave up because these things are just cash cowing like for me like crazy. But Airbnb is relatively young. It's never been through a major recession. So I've got to factor in the fact that these numbers are going to come down significantly. I might not be able to get this. So the best thing I can do is try and look at hotel data. And we back in 2009, 2008, hotel revenues kind of came off, depending on the city, anywhere between kind of 20 and 50%. So I've got to know which cities that was in. I've got to know how that went down, and I've got to adjust my expectations on that for that. So this is the same kind of thing in Bitcoin. The coming recession is a huge spanner in the works. Bitcoin hasn't seen it before. Airbnb hasn't seen it before. Lots of other things have not seen the recession before, and we're gonna have to find out. So all we can do is manage that as best we can. And Bitcoin is a real tricky one because major black swan event, big bail-ins, Bitcoin price could go ballistic. It's the only thing worth having at that point. And when they're stealing money out of your bank accounts like they did in Cyprus, what are you going to do? You're going to have to run to Bitcoin. But if it's a little bit more subdued than that and managed and drawn out, people may just need to be selling their Bitcoin just to eat and survive, and so it could suppress prices. By the way, guys, if you like what I'm talking about, this is the kind of stuff we talk about all the time in my email subscription. So whatever you do, just below this, go ahead, click the link. At the very least, go ahead and join my mailing list. We talk about all these kinds of cool things, Bitcoin price predictions all the time. So I don't do the videos very often anymore, but I'll keep you in the loop of when to buy and sell Bitcoin, keep you abreast of all the predictions I've got over the next coming years. And so right now, the big takeaway is you are here in the cup and handle. You're right at the bottom. Now is the time to accumulate Bitcoin like crazy. I've been selling a product since 2012, maybe January 2013, called the Bitcoin Starter Kit. And I know with absolute certainty, I could sell, during the manias, here and here, here and here, I could sell $3 or $4 million worth of the Bitcoin Starter Kit. I can't bring myself to do it. I feel like I'm leading the lamb to slaughter. I can't make a whole bunch of money selling the Bitcoin Starter Kit. During the mania, that's when everyone wants to buy Bitcoin. That's when everyone wants to find out more about Bitcoin. That's when everyone wants to, oh, quick, teach me about Bitcoin. I get it. I need to buy it now. And I just refuse to sell it then. I've never done it. And I only sell the Bitcoin Starter Kit down here when it's the right time to buy. I only think I've sold like $200,000 or $300,000 worth of the Bitcoin Starter Kit in history, because I only do it here and here and here. I don't sell it when it's up here, and I don't sell it when it's up here. So go through, join the mailing list. You'll go through to another page. If you want to get the Bitcoin Starter Kit, get the knowledge and foundation now. Now's the time to do it, because there's no urgency. You don't feel urgent. You think you've got all the time in the world. This price is going to start creeping, and every day you're missing out on the lowest price possible. So with that, I hope you enjoyed it. Oh, and by the way, go ahead, subscribe to this channel. I only make maybe one video a year or two, but hopefully you found this worth it. Hopefully you thought it was useful. And so if I do make a video, you'll definitely want to know about it. Click the bell and ask for the notification too. And after you do that, go through and get on the mailing list. Definitely get on the mailing list. There's so much good information on that email, and I'll see you soon.